Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or to my channel if you just found me. Today I want to sew. I took a different direction than I thought I was going to do. There's a craft kit I want to start on a future video, but I'm going to move things around. So the goal today is to make a tiny stuffed animal for my littlest out of a problem we came across earlier in the year. So we picked out back to school clothes. She had a two-piece set that she found and wanted so badly. Bought it, wore it a couple times. When I went to do the laundry at some point, I realized that there was a hole in it. So this hole came from scissors and her doing. I was a little bummed out about it. I get it. Whatever. Kids are kids. It's just a piece of clothing. But I loved this material. And the memory of this skirt is so cute. Just, this was the first year that she was like super into picking things out and like matching. For the life of me, I don't know why you would cut an item in half that you wanted. I don't know. But anyway, I did save the skirt. She doesn't know I saved the skirt, but I did keep it. And I'm going to turn it into a rabbit. I think I'm going to try a rabbit because I'm about to show you what projects I've done in the past, and I kind of want to try something different. So that's the goal with this little leftover. Another thing too is it would have fit her forever, because when I bought it, it was obviously too large. So I always take things in and then you just snip. This is just like a tip if you buy clothing that is too large. You can always just take it in and hide it on the inseam. And then as they grow, you snip those little ties basically that you created. So that's on the outside, there's a stitch, and then there's one on the inside, and then it just expands with them. So you get, this skirt should have had so much use, which it's being repurposed. So obviously I'm not okay with, I have not accepted that she cut the skirt, okay? But we are gonna make something out of it. So anyway, this is also kind of random because I would like to throw a few items in that I both received and bought this week. And I might, at the end, throw in where I hang these items. I want to figure out how to hang this. Well, let me just show you. I'll start with that. So my brother purchased this. It's just so bizarre. It's a shadow box of random things. Just seashells and like these little almost pine cone looking things. It almost looks like potpourri, but I'm trying not to catch a glare here, but are those seashells as well? Yeah, so double seashells. There's like cracked acorn tops. Obviously, this is my favorite part. I have dried flowers. Anywhere in my home, I've kept flowers and dried them. Do you know, I just heard a super interesting thing through YouTube the other day. Now, I never looked up to find out if this was a myth or a fact or just like, I don't know what it could come from, but I was watching a girl and she said that she was throwing away all of her dried flowers because someone had commented that when you hold on to flowers and you dry them, that it brings bad energy into your home. Now, do I believe that for 1 second? Absolutely not. I've had dried flowers since I was in my 20s, but I did find that interesting because she started throwing away all of her dried flowers. Like, she was not having that myth of it even being a possibility. So that's just a random spiral of information that I don't really even know if it's solid information. So my point to that side story was this has a dried flower as the centerpiece. I just think this is the most random arrangement. It's so cool and weird. And this wood goes, here's my chair, for example, but there's also like heavy wood frames and like older antique. My shelf right here is the same type of wood that actually he gave me too. So my point is, I want to hang this because on the back it is hollowed out, and there's also like a removable plastic container that sits in there, which is also interesting. So I guess if you wanted to remove that, you could. So we were talking about it and was like, maybe you could put like pencils, paintbrushes would look really cool in this, honestly. But I want to hang it. I just think that I've sat and looked at it now for a couple days, and I'm probably going to figure out how to hang this. So I obviously could talk about anything for 19 hours, 1,000 hours, so I'm going to move on. But I also found this at the Dollar Tree this weekend. It is like a bronzy finish. They also had a solid gold coating without the, you know, tarnish look to it. But I picked this one because it looked a little more vintagey. It was $1.25. It's obviously not an antique by any means, but I thought it was so cool because I have so much floral and so many butterflies throughout the office. A lot of them are all different textures and materials and pictures, so I thought this would be like almost a harsh, like contradicting piece, pretty much, which is what I always go for. The texture of it, basically, is what I was trying to say there. So I may or may not put those in the video of me hanging them and then just showing you at the end where I put them if anyone cares. But from the very beginning of when I started basically talking to the camera, I guess, or like doing more involved videos, I started showing like different things I would get from my office. And looking back on some of those videos, it's so cool because I did not realize I had nothing on my wall. At the time, I thought, wow, my office is so decorated, but it was honestly so bare. Now, over the years, I have very minimal space. So it has just been so cool. There's some up here. There's a few areas here, and like one little piece in the corner. Oh, and above my windows I could do, and obviously over here. So I still have room, but my goal is to kind of like collage the entire office wall. I feel like it looks like collage to me. Maybe someone else doesn't have that view, but I just love watching it build up basically over these last couple of years. And like each piece I hung in the videos is just a cool memory of like where I got it from, or, you know, how I came across it. So back to the main point of the video, it was to make a stuffed animal. And I was going to show you some past projects that I've done for each of my children. I made a little bear, little legs, little arms. They're all completely different. This bear is 20 years old because I made this when I was pregnant. So this bear is so old, and like you can see little things, his little arms coming off a little bit. I've always kept these on a shelf and never actually distribute. Like my oldest obviously could have this one at this point, but I have never really gave them personally to them to play with. I guess they're probably old enough now, but I was scared because I have buttons on there and I didn't want them to like rip the buttons off. So it was always more of something that I made that was a display piece for each kid. But you know what? They would honestly be old enough. Here's my second one. This one's just a little cheetah print. And I put a little patchwork heart on it to match. its ears. This one, it's a bear. It's a little questionable, but like they're all misshapen, which I actually love. I don't know. Have you ever seen those dolls? They're called Uglies. I believe that's just what they're called. They're just called Uglies, which my kids have those, a few dolls here and there throughout the house, but these just remind me of like a different version of those. I don't even know if those were out when I wonder how far back that company goes. But when I made that one, I feel like this one looks way more put together than this one. Maybe like my mental health declined with the second one, you know, and this is what I ended up with. But then the third one kind of comes back. I kind of come back, and it's a little panda, and it also has a little patchwork heart and little ears. I honestly pulled these down from the shelf. They were so dusty. I had to like smack clean them, but looking at them, I'm just like, these are so adorable. I don't know. I think I'm going to give these to them actually today, now that I have them down. But I feel like this guy brought it back. He's got, you know, the right size head and is a little more proportionate. But I really do just love things that are not perfect. Like, I know I could probably perfect this, but that's just not something I think is as aesthetically pleasing. So I try to make things funny like this. But the fourth one it's wild. So my littlest wanted Elf on the Shelf, I want to say a couple years ago. Maybe this was last year. But she was begging for an Elf on the Shelf. And nothing wrong with Elf on the Shelf. I would never accomplish Elf on the Shelf, if that sounds correct. So I didn't want to purchase it. It wasn't in like a price range that I thought was reasonable at the time. So this is going to be a 50-50. Some people are going to love this. Other people are going to just die on the inside. And I apologize, but I made her, her own, you know, Elf on the Shelf. And we did it as a girl. I think they have female ones now, if I'm right. I don't know. I don't really keep up with it. Other than seeing the funny things that people do come up with for it, I think that's hysterical. But I made this gem, this little beauty, and she has a little dress. She's very festive, okay? She's got a nice hair. Like, look at that. Just like luscious hair, you know? And I gave this to my little one and surprised her, and she still, I think she named her Snowflake. I think this one's name is Snowflake. She still is dragging around this disgusting doll, and I'm so proud of her. Like, I think it's dead on. Like, if you were gonna nail a project, like, this is it. So I was pretty proud of her. Now, the next step is to create her another something. I think a rabbit. I think I'm going to go with a rabbit. So I'm going to set you guys up in probably like an overhead view, and we'll make the stencil and things like that. And I'll just show you how I create these creatures, bears, animals, and maybe you'll try it yourself. So I brought my fabric. I brought this travel case that I showed you in a past video. I also was going to show you my original sewing kit that I've mentioned as to why, let me lift this up a little, as to why I purchased the travel one and didn't want to dig through this any longer to like bring items, was because this is what it looks like on the inside. So it has all the things, except I always go through this. Here was her hair, Elf on the Shelf's hair, or Snowflakes, I'm sorry. So basically here, just to start, like this is all tangled. I have cleaned this basket out over the years 5,000 times. Also, here's the little, oh, I think my needle point is in here that I was talking about last week. So here's the circle thing, whatever that was called. I still didn't find that out, by the way, but check this out. Like all the things are connected to it. Okay, so then this is my little pin cushion, and I have all the things. Here's some extra, like, from my husband's, like, pants that I've mended before and things. But then you get into here, and it is just like, why? Like, why do I live my life like this? There's some extension clips. This has to be from, I don't even know how old these have to be. And why are these in here? I don't know. Oh, I guess because you would sew them on here. Okay. I have this. I never even opened. This stuff's actually really cool. It should probably be in my office. Okay, so here's a small one of those. And then through all this, I believe this is my needle point. Yeah. Okay, so here it is. It came with, this is off subject, of course, but I just figured I'd show you this because I had mentioned it. Oh, see, my needle's still attached. Here is the pattern. Okay, it came with all your little instructions. Is the pattern in this thing? Yeah, okay. Look at that. It's so cute. Okay, it's so cute. Oh, here's a smaller version. Okay. You know, it's just like one of those little sayings. I was going to make it. Now, on the packaging, you know, it showed it in color, which the colors it came with were all blues, like shades of blue. So then I started it. Now, where was I going with this? Okay, so look, I had started it right here, it looks like. And this is free-handed. So, you know, because like I was saying, it didn't come with the pattern on the material. And as a kid, my Grammy taught me to needlepoint, but she always gave me ones that were in... Can somebody please comment? What is this thing called? But you know, you put it in this thing and then you hold it, and there's always a pattern. I could probably just look it up. Can we just look this up? Hang on, I have to look this up. What are the round things called that hold your needle point? Hang on, we're waiting for the answer. Are you joking my life? It's called an embroidery hoop. Okay, or a quilting hoop. Like, why was that so complicated in my brain? I thought it was something specially named. Anyway, this was my needlepoint, but my goal for the new year is to needlepoint, but with pattern. I would much rather not freehand it. I mean, I don't think that was terrible. Now oh, that doesn't go in there, that's why. I mean, we have to stay organized here. So, my goal in the new year is to needlepoint, but with a pattern, because it didn't take me long to stop doing that. I feel like because I probably just got frustrated with it. So here's my sewing kit. We're going to move that way far away because we have no plans on opening that again for quite some time. We are now going to use the much smaller, much more organized kit to start our pattern here. I also have this. I'm just going to bring it into frame real awkwardly, but my oldest bought a giant bag of this, and because she also makes like a ton of stuffed animals and a ton of just like projects. So this will be the filling. I actually have filling. Now in the past, I've used extra material from the original project to stuff the item because I didn't have like the official stuffing that, you know, you just saw. So I would always just improvise, and you can still make a project. You don't have to have all of these fancy items, you know, purchased to be able to make something creative. You can literally just utilize what you already have. So we're going to start with the body. There's no science to this. I assume most people would love to measure and have like a guide. I just kind of do this, okay? I'll cut the fabric out from the mane. I do know I probably only need like this length. I'm just like an eyeballer. Are you an eyeballer, or do you need like an official plan before you get started? I always just kind of save the idea in my brain, or I write it down. I have tons of ideas written down because I will lose them, but I mainly come up with the idea and then just wing it until I get what I was looking for or saw in my brain. So we're going to eyeball some stomach pieces, like some body pieces. We're just gonna make, probably, let's do like a long body and not a round belly. So actually I probably don't need 2 pieces. So we'll use this as the belly piece. We're gonna use this as the head. Okay. Okay, and then we'll do a second piece for the head. Sometimes I do 2 pieces. I know you're supposed to have like a back and a front to each pattern, but sometimes I do just, like with the arms, I'll show you that. So here's, ultimately, it's gonna be the head. And we can also go in and shape this up if we wanted, just so we don't have that extra bulk, but technically I can just tuck that into the pattern, because what you're gonna do, let me not get ahead of myself. That's my brain like spiraling. So let's get our pattern first, and then I'll show you what we're gonna do. Head, body, and then we need some ears. Okay, so we're gonna do like, I think I'm out of frame, sorry. Not like there's anything to really follow here besides just chopping things up randomly. But we'll do 2 ears, and I probably will fold those over. Okay. 2 ears. Then we need some arms and legs. Just bear with me. I promise this all comes together. So we'll do like 1 leg, 2 legs. If my channel was bigger, like I watch a lot of YouTube, okay? So if my channel was much bigger, I have been on YouTube for so long and so comment involved. Like I don't know if you guys love this. I love the comments. Like I think comments on videos, obviously the positive ones, but even the ones that like critique something in a positive manner, like in a polite manner, I honestly think that sometimes makes or breaks a video, because without that involvement, you really don't have anything to go off of, right? So I don't get a ton of comments. When I do, I appreciate them just so much more than you understand. But I read all of the comments, and I do take them, I read them. I enjoy reading them. But if my channel was bigger, I can just imagine what the comments would be for just anything I did right there. I feel like it would not maybe go over well for some people. And that's just because we all do things a certain way, you know, and so that's what ends up happening. Like, this isn't everyone's method, which also I can respect that. We all do things completely different. Here's the arms and the legs. Here is going to be the tail of some sort. All right. Now, how does any of this make sense? It doesn't. But let's start with the body. Basically, I'm going to turn the fabric inside out. Now, this is a preference thing. Sometimes I pin, sometimes I do not. Where's the, here we go. Sometimes I pin things, sometimes I don't. I'm pinning this to show you what I do if I do it, if that makes sense. So basically, oop, I have a cat hair there. And basically I just pin very randomly, does not have to be perfect, the shape I'm going to create. So I want a pretty narrow, like elongated version of this rabbit. This guy's a little too crazy. There we go. Now, this is the same process on every single piece. Okay, so the head. I'm probably going to downsize this, but also you can do that when you pin it, okay? So the head, you want to take opposite, the fabric that's going to show, you want it to be inward, okay? And then you want to pin it. Same thing, arms, whatever. Now, my arms and legs, this is what I will do. I don't do the two pieces. I do very similar, well, hang on, I'm doing it the opposite. I do very similar to what I did for the body, except I kind of roll the fabric in to itself. Okay, and then I pin it. So like this, like that's how tiny your little legs and arms are gonna be, right? Just show you an example. And then you pin it, okay? So then when you do your stitching, you're going to just stitch this seam closed, right? And that's gonna make a little tube arm or a little tube leg, okay? So this is how you set up all of your pieces. Now, when you go to sew them, let's set up a needle. Wait, I think I already have one right here. Here's my needle. Let's get some thread. We'll do this light yellow so it's not too harsh. It's pretty much dead on. I'm not too giant on matching matching the thread as well. Like I like to do the opposite of sometimes for like the contrast. But this won't show. It's going to be on the inside. You know what? Technically, I have plenty of thread, but technically I could do this like white or something since it's going to be on the end. Well, it might show when you flip it. All right, anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to just put the thread on here. I will never forget learning how to sew. My Grammy taught me how to sew. And I still to this day can remember just like being small and her showing me like the eye of the needle, which is not going to show up in case you're just like unfamiliar and ended up here. Why won't this focus? Hello? Hello? Anyway, there is an eye to the needle. It's just the little slot there that you stick the thread through. And I still remember as a kid practicing it over and over again because it was so frustrating. And now I sew like a lot. So it is just one of those skills I've always been thankful to have. because I feel like not everybody knows how to sew, which is also fine, but it's something so nice to learn if you are thinking about learning that skill. I thread this needle. Oh, also, what I just did there, so everyone has a preference, but like my grandma taught me that you thread it and then you pull the string together. So now you have like almost a double piece, you know, so it's a lot stronger than sewing with just that singled out thread. See, those are things that like I'm just doing that I already know, but maybe someone else doesn't know that. I also learned very early on with sewing that to create your knot in a piece, you pull your thread to the bottom. See, that's a little uneven, so I just stopped it there. You pull it through the fabric again, right? Like you're going to make a stitch. And then you cross it through the circle you just created to tie your knot. And that is how you start your knot. And in fact, I'm going to back this fabric up just a pinch and do that a little further back as well. And we're going to just sew another knot just for like safekeeping. So since I'm right here, this is why I don't like pins, because I just kind of go wherever I want. But you basically are just going to sew all the way around. All the way around. You're going to gather this fabric. It's going to look insane. You're going to be like bundled up. Like, see, it's going to start to bunch and look crazy. Not everybody sews like this. This is just my preference. But I'm going to go all the way around this pattern. And at the end of this, I'm going to come back and show you what the next step is. I'm not going to bore you with like going all the way around sewing. That's going to take me a hot minute. So I'll come back and show you where to go from here. Okay, and also, just kidding, I really want to show you this also. I just got off and then realized I'm going to cut this down into more of the shape I want. So I took, I don't know, an inch or so off of the edge and just kind of lined this up better because we want a long, slender body. And I won't have to gather so much material now in the middle of all of that. So just less bulk, ultimately. I just made the pattern a little thinner, basically. So this is the process until I get to the end of the pattern. So I'll see you back when I'm done. All right, this is sewed. I took just maybe like another inch off the top. I felt like it was maybe a little too long. I've now put myself a knot at the end of this thread. It's knotted. And now I'm going to cut my thread away. We don't need that for right now. Okay, so next step. This is your pattern. This is going to be the body. And you're going to take the pattern itself and you're going to flip it right side out. Okay, so here is the little rabbit's body. I'm going to show you how to also, I'm going to get some right now. I'm going to try to show you this one main piece because then I'm going to put all the pieces together and we'll combine them as a whole on video. I just don't want you to be like bored watching me sew each individual piece, put the stuffing into each individual piece, and so on. It's the same concept for each section of the body, just repeated, basically, and to your preference. I put some stuffing in there, and we're gonna put that in the rabbit's body. Bear with me, this is looking a little insane, but it's all gonna come together. And then stuffing wise, you can make it as, it's also a preference. You can make it super stuffed, you can make it extra soft, however you want the actual plush thing that you're making to feel. Okay, that looks pretty decent. Right now, the way I'm looking at this, like its little head is going to go up here because I'll be able to attach the head to right here at some point. Like this will be the head. It's going to be much smaller. Head, arm, leg, tail, ears on the head, obviously. So then I think we need a little more stuffing. All right, and so now that you have your stuffing, you take your thread once again, rethread your needle, and then you're going to take the fabric, however this works for you, whatever you like, however you want to do it, you're going to close it off. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, since this is the part that's going to look insane, closed off like this, this will be where the head goes. But you just want to close off the opening. So when you are sewing, by the way, when you're sewing your pattern closed, the point of showing you this was you do not want to fully sew it shut because you're unable to turn it out right side out, and you're also unable to add the stuffing. Now, if you made that mistake, you can always just cut the stitches and add in, you know, these steps, but just save yourself the trouble. This part is obviously doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of make sure it's closed. Probably go through one more time to be able to knot it. Maybe not. Okay. Sometimes when you come down to like an issue where you didn't leave yourself enough space to cross it over and tie it, you just tie it like a shoestring. And if you came across this at the end of the project like this, realistically, it doesn't need to be knotted too terribly bad because it's going to have another piece attached to it up here. But I was able to just get it to tie right there. We'll just do the one little knot. And then you want to snip that shut. Okay, here's the body. It literally looks insane. I like the stuffing though. That feels pretty, like it's going to still be soft, but it's firm. And then you're going to do the same thing. I'm going to get ready to do the same thing to all of the other parts to add to the base, the body of it. And so I am going to get all that done, and I'll come back and I'll show you how we connect all the pieces. I just came across something else I wanted to show you. So I have the body, I have the head, okay? I'm doing one of the ears right now. When I got to the bottom of the pattern and then flipped it on the inside, or outside, I realized I didn't mention that if you have enough thread at the end of your pattern, you can also just leave it on there like this. Then I kind of want the ears to be super floppy, so we're going to just do a little bit of stuffing throughout it. You stuff that. Let's do this. Kind of get some of it down there. I just want them to be like loose. I feel like that's just too much stuffing already. Okay. But we do probably need some at the end. It just won't go down there. Also, I was sitting here when I was sewing thinking about, like, some people may wonder why I'm not just doing this on a sewing machine. Like, how come I don't do the patterns and then just be done with it quicker? I don't know how to use a sewing machine. I have had sewing machines in the past. I've become super frustrated, flustered. I don't understand the like mechanics of it. I can't even get the thread threaded to begin to mess up with the actual sewing part. I don't know if that's even relatable. Does anybody else have the same exact history of that? Or am I just insane because I literally cannot comprehend it? So I hand sew everything. This is just going to be hand sewn. It's what's easier for me. I know it. I don't get frustrated hand sewing like I do when I try to use a machine. And it's just what works for me. Now, if I was able to maybe be taught in person how to use a sewing machine, I could comprehend it better. I can't learn it on my own. I've tried so many times. I just cannot learn it on my own. So maybe someone has advice for that also. This is my ear. So here's just an example of like what it'll eventually be connected as, okay? So this is so far. But my real point of coming back on was to mention that if you have the extra thread, keep it on there when you flip it, and then you're able to just continue sewing it shut. You never have to rethread that needle. It just so happened that each time I came to the bottom of my other patterns, I already had to reline my needle anyway, or rethread my needle. So that's just a tip also if you're learning how to sew. Maybe that's helpful for someone. But I'm going to continue to close up these pieces and then I'll be back. I'll stop coming back with random information and ideas. I can't say that's true, but I'm going to try not to. So I'll see you guys in a little bit. I have all the pieces done. Head, body, both the little ears. They are not by any means the same. 2 ears. Okay, let's imagine that. Oh my gosh, so cute. 4 little legs and arms, however I piece these on. And the little tail. Now, I am going to show how to connect these things. It's pretty much the same thing I've been doing. You just piece them all together. But I was thinking, I have this material here, this shirt, and I was going to do, oh, I forgot to stuff this ear. That's why they were really not looking the same. Okay, let me stuff this ear actually. But I am going to take that fabric right there and cut some to put on the ears. You know how rabbits have like a lighter inside on their ear? That's what I'm going to try to make here with the extra fabric. I want these to be like super loose. Okay, this one's actually a little looser, so let's maybe take some of that out. Okay, so then I want to use this shirt. It's a shirt. we're gonna cut some fabric. I am on camera, okay. That's always a plus when you're filming and you're on camera. All right, so we're gonna take the fabric, kind of eyeball it to the shape of the ear is what I just did. And then I'm gonna sew that. Everything in me wants to fabric glue it because I feel like it would be quicker. See that? That's gonna be like the underside of the ear. So my next project, or my next point in the project, is to do this and just sew it to the material. Oh, I was saying that if I glue it with fabric glue, I just hate the way it dries. It dries too crunchy and like not natural for me. This is also where I'm going to start to like use different threads to coordinate but not actually match. And I think I'm going to do the darker. But when I go to sew the pieces on together, I think I'm going to use this pink to kind of match the flowers in the main piece. But let's start this ear. I'll show you what I'm going to do with the extra fabric. Oh, no. My floor, I was doing really good on the last video where I was using my trash can and I actually bragged about it. That did not happen this time. So I have stuff all over my floor. I don't know why I work like that. It's like I can't be bothered to put things in a trash can that would be right below me. But I really do. I just start throwing stuff around. And then I just cause myself more to do afterwards. Actually, I'll probably just run the vacuum and get a lot of the stuff up that I've thrown on the floor. Okay, so I'm threading my needle. And then I'm basically just going to sew that to the top half of the ear. So you're only going through that first. Maybe I should have kept this overhead, but I wanted to show you like the material and such, but it's the same concept. You just sew that pattern to the top of the ear. Just like that. So you're going to go all the way around each side, get here, tie your knot, cut it, do the same to the other ear. Then I'll come back and we'll attach the whole thing. Well, I'll show you a couple pieces. Then I'll show you the final piece. Is the plan. Random thoughts, but I was just sitting here thinking, it's quiet as a mouse in the house. And I have on this like snowfall, you know, relaxing video in the background, which is actually really cool. But I'm telling you, this is so random. But I was sitting here thinking, it's so quiet, and it kind of came to me that when I was not creating for so many years and then started this channel, I realized that a lot of that has to do with when you create, you sit in this like atmosphere and you're alone with your thoughts and like with yourself, which I feel like not just myself, but a lot of us avoid. And I was sitting here having all of these thoughts and like things come to mind because I'm sitting still and quiet and doing something that requires me to I just like stopped going. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And I was like, man, maybe that is why I avoided it for so many years, because you're just stuck with yourself. Does that make sense to anybody else? And ever since I've started this channel, like I've just felt so much better mentally. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but it really is such an outlet to, first off, have that time or the opportunity to create the way I'm able to right now, and also to just, I don't know, like reprogram my brain on what I think is important, because I put that on the back burner for so many years. And I was just sitting here appreciating like how much I love being able to do this again. Even if it is difficult, like just sitting here sewing might seem like, okay, what could possibly be going on? But it's a lot of like focus and just time on your, you know, by yourself. And I guess for years I did not want to be a part of that. So it's nice to like reconnect with that side of myself. Here's this part of the ear. The first one's done. This one's almost done. I'm going to rethread, finish this off, and then we're going to connect everything. Just, I had a random thought. I thought maybe I should put that on in this video, because also at some point, I know I hope my kids watch this, and so maybe they'll hear that too. So I'll be back. Here we are. Every single piece is sewed. All the pieces. Now, next step, I'm going to show you connecting them. Let's see, what did we say this was going to be, the head? No, I still think this should be the way that the head sits on there. Let's connect the head and the body. We're going to use pink thread to match the flowers and not the actual body color. And this is not a process. This is literally just connecting it the best way possible, and to where it looks as seamless as it can. I mean, this is obviously homemade and not perfect, but I do like to hide the edges of each piece and so on. So let me show you that. Okay, there we go. That's good enough. I'm going to take the head, just tuck all this in to there, make kind of like whatever that's called. Put the head in there, and then we're just going to go to town. We're going to, let me start this and then I'll show you. We're going to make our knot to tie it down. And then I'm just going to be scooping fabric, connecting it to the body. Scooping, where's the camera? There we go. Scooping fabric and picking up the body piece. Oh, oops, I got it around the head. Hold on. There we go. And we're just gonna go around every single body part like that. It's pretty time consuming. There we go. See how it just like gapped it together? I feel like my camera has not been focusing at all. I don't know what's going on with it today, or if it's the lighting in this room. We have very, like, it's not very lit outside today, but it's obviously winter and just gloomy, and it gets dark at 2:30 in the afternoon. Just scooping the head, connecting it to the body, pulling it through. So see, it's our, oh, no, that was a bad example. There we go. So I'm going to connect all the parts and come back and we'll do a face. I think I'm going to do a face on her. And I got nothing. I've come back and forth on videos so many times. Like, I don't even know what's in this video. So I'll be back again. All right, I have been working on this for almost like the full day at this point. Like, it's dark outside. So I was just looking at this. All of the little limbs are on. I'll show you it as a finished piece. But I was looking at the face for adding the nose and the eyes and whatever else I was thinking. And check this out. It has 2 spots for eyes. The flowers are lined up perfectly for a tiny little face. So I think I might go in and add thread to the little middles of the flower to give it texture, and then add a tiny nose, possibly some whiskers. I'm gonna go mess with this, but I just thought that was so crazy perfect and not done on purpose. So when I come back, it's going to be a finished rabbit. It'll probably be tomorrow though. Here she is. Her legs are a little unproportioned. Her arms are adorable. That's okay though. I don't mind that. I think that makes it cuter. Ears are great. They're attached. Oh, here, the tail. So I had put the tail on her, sewed it down, and realized that from like the side, it just looked like a bump or like an extra butt or something. I don't know. So I took some fabric from the extra shirt and put it on her little tail. So the flower makes it appear more as like a little cottontail. I sewed her little face on. Oh my God, it's so cute. I used those flowers like I mentioned. My husband asked why her ears were on backwards, but I was like, she's a floppy ear. So this is the underneath of her ear, you know, where it would be lighter colored. And then if her ears went up, that's what it would look like. I don't know, maybe they are on backwards, but I thought that was the best way to do it. So I am so excited to give this to her. And I am also so curious what she'll name her, because everything gets a name, you know. But I also put up the butterfly piece, and I've been trying for like an hour to get the wooden shell acorn weird thing hung up. I cannot figure it out. So I'm going to take a break from that, and hopefully the last clip of this video is going to be those 2 things hung up, and I can like actually finish the video, because I feel like from what I think of yesterday, like all the times I jumped in, I cannot even imagine how long this video is going to be, so sorry in advance. But it was well worth it, because look at her. She's so cute. And if you're still here, you've watched it to the end, or you've skipped forward to the end, thank you so, so much. And I will see you guys on next week's video. Ta-da! The shelf is up, and the butterfly. The shelf, it's 2 days later. It took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to hang this up, but I did it. I would never tell you what happened to make this happen, but I will not forget it anytime soon. It was very frustrating, but I figured it out. It's hung. I don't even know at this point if it is straight or not, but I will take this win. And I love that my owls are down here. They're stacked here. Then it goes into like the nature-y type stuff in the box. And I can also stack more owls on top of there, or put flowers in the top of that. Like there's a, you know, the little container part on the top. So there's a bunch of things I can do with that small amount of space that's on top of there, and I'm excited to, you know, do something with it. And then, like I said, there's the butterfly piece. I hung it off the wall a bit, and eventually I'll put maybe something small there also, and I still have a little bit of room there. Like, I want the walls just ridiculously covered, so eventually I'll start filling in like tiny gaps like that and such. This is the damage left behind all of this just to hang that shelf. This, there's trash under the table, but like I said, it's done. This is the last clip of the video, so if you're still here, I can never thank you enough for your time, and I appreciate you. So I will see you now on next week's video. This week I am deciding, nope. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or back. Welcome. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or back to it. No, that is not right. Is this my first day? Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or with... Hi guys, welcome to my channel. Why is that not coming out right? Welcome to, or welcome back to my channel. Why does that sound so weird today? Hi guys, welcome to my channel, or back to my channel. I did it again. I did it again. I do not know what is my brain like programmed backwards today. I have no clue what is going on. Okay, last part. I got the shelf up. It's 2 days later. It took me an embarrassing long time, an embarrassingly long amount,